Okay, so if we can start with, I guess the obvious place to start is the COVID-19 outbreak. And I guess, how does this change the role of archiving? I mean, that's a major part of business continuity, which is quite important at the moment. So what have you seen going on?
Well, wasn't that a shockwave through the industry? It basically, what it did, it put a stop into production of a lot of new content that typically would happen. So people or networks, businesses and stuff like that in media and entertainment, they had to rely very heavily on their content repositories. You know, the term archive, I don't normally even use it anymore as that term. I think it's more of a content repository. Anyhow, the organizations had to rely on what they already have. And they had to make sure that that was available. And it also, in importance, it became a bigger part of the business continuity. For them to stay on air, they had to rely on the content that they already had in their archives. So archives became the centerpiece of every operations in media and entertainment. And people realized that what they have plays such a bigger role, and it could become, issue of survival for them. So the ability to access it remotely, whether it is for on-air operations or to create new content based on what they already had, became a huge piece for archives. And what we see from this experience is that a lot of organizations, when this thing started slowing down and go away, people are going to put much greater emphasis on the infrastructure, and their content repository, what we know as archives, is going to play much bigger part of their planning. We actually have already started seeing a lot of folks are looking at their whole infrastructure and see if there are areas where they can improve on it, because they don't see this as a one-time deal. This is going to happen again in the future. So archives are becoming centerpiece of media and entertainment.
That's presumably good news for yourselves, because I mean, historically, I've been in the storage industry quite a long time, as yourself, and Spectra Logic are known for tape storage, tape libraries. But I'm looking at your portfolio, it's much wider than that these days. Is that right?
It is. We saw the shift in the industry over a number of years ago. In fact, we started putting quite a bit more of our top line revenue into new development, new research on what the customers needed based on the new market and the new paradigm. So we started developing quite a bit more around storage and storage management. In fact, if you look at the industry, moving forward, for any company to survive, they have to put technology and data as the centerpiece of their strategy moving forward. And that plays quite a bit into technologies that help them take advantage of their content in a much greater way. So Spectra Logic, over 7 or 8 years, we put quite a bit of emphasis in developing. One of the technologies was object storage technologies, because not only it made sure that the content could grow in scale, but also it made it a lot easier to search and find. And at the same time, another very important aspect of that was content availability in a remote session. It made the content and these content repositories to be available for the users that were going to be remote, or to help consolidate operations of the enterprises, so that everybody within the enterprise had access into everything that they had. So that's where we started developing, quite a bit around storage management, new storage infrastructure, object storage. So Spectra Logic, where we used to develop tape technology, only our brand was known as a tape supplier. Now we claim and can deliver end-to-end solution for content management and storage infrastructure, end-to-end, the whole thing. So that is a big shift in the industry that has happened. And, we've always managed to stay ahead of the curve. And this was yet another one of those times where Spectra Logic got ahead of the curve.
And if I'm right, the media and entertainment industry is again one of your areas of sort of expertise in particular. The whole world is clearly, as we're aware, on this digital transformation journey. The pandemic perhaps, has exaggerated the fact that everyone was going on, Teams, all these things, or playing games at home, whatever it was. So what is that industry? I guess they're looking for some sort of innovative and reliable storage technology as, digital content continues to explode.
Yeah, the world that we live in nowadays is, a world where folks rely quite a bit in digital content, whether it is in social media or content for video or streaming or what have you. And media and entertainment is at the center of all of that. And so we've put quite a bit of emphasis, as I earlier mentioned, on this technology. What we're seeing in the industry is that storage and content is going to have to be available all the time. That's the way that we communicate better. That's the way that we share information together better. So the reliability of storage infrastructure and the tools to make them available to when you want them are playing a much, much bigger role. Yesterday I was at a conference and they were asking basically, what do we see in terms of future? Where is the storage going to? Where is the storage infrastructure is going to? And what we are focusing on and where we see the value is that storage as an ecosystem by itself and the data are going to be orchestrated much more across the enterprise, across the globe. So for every enterprise to make sure that all of its people and all its end users have reliable access to the content is a huge piece. And the storage is going to be a lot more intelligent, and the storage is going to be a lot of capabilities to orchestrate the availability of content to the end user, regardless of where the end user is and regardless of where the data is. The most important thing is whoever needs the storage, the information is going to have access to it rather quickly. So that's where we're putting tremendous amount of our focus on to make sure that we support this new paradigm moving forward.
And in that industry, and I'm pretty sure more generally, the old 80-20 rule, so 20% of the content is sort of up and used for a lot of the time, and then 80% is used once or twice and then archived, whatever. How do you, as a company, help people with, as I say, they've been wrestling with it for years and years, the sort of management of that? As you say, people want the content right this minute, but obviously most of it hasn't been used for, say, 6 months, and then suddenly someone wants it. So how do you help folks with that?
So, that's a great question. It has kind of two aspects to that. One is, if you don't know what you have, 80% of data basically not being used, but when you do need it, its value suddenly goes up tremendously. So the ability to know what you have and where you have is a huge deal. And the other aspect of it is the issue of cost management. If some of these content are not being accessed on regular basis and all that, then why would you want to have that content on more expensive storage where you could use it in far much more efficient ways for other functions, be it edit, be it render, be it whatever, transactional thing that you do. So one of the areas that Spectra Logic, we honed in and we saw the need a few years ago, and again, we jumped on it rather quick, is to create tools to help customers identify what they've got, whatever it is. And once you know what you have, you can measure it and you can do something about it. And that's where we introduced the Store Cycle, is a storage management application where we could actually go crawl all the end users' assets, see where they are, then they can categorize it in ways that is meaningful to them, meaningful to their workflows and to their operations, and then make an intelligent decision where that asset belongs to in terms of cost and availability. And that's what the Store Cycle does. That's what we've done with that. And then once you have that, you make sure that the users can have quick access to that. So that intelligent decision to position it in proper tier, in proper location, is going to help make it available to when they need it so they can find it rather quickly. And that's a huge deal these days because there's so much data, so much content out there. Being able to know what you have where you have it and have quick access to it is a huge part of moving forward in order to stay competitive. So that's what we've done quite a bit of development on.